welcome a really wonderful human being. Her name is Erica Campbell. Good morning, Erica Campbell. It's your time. Well, I got to tell you, because not too long ago I was reading and you said something about introductions.
Yes.
And so I said, well, I better come with a good introduction for my friend here. And but I have been such a fan of yours before the radio thing. And you all coming to the studio and being a part of it, watching your reality show with you and Tina, and now with the Campbells. We are the Campbells. And I know I've told you this before, but I love that show.
Oh, thank you.
I really love that show. I love the show. I love the theme song. When the kids are singing, I love everything about it. Really. And can I tell you, I love this book. More Than Pretty. Yes. Now the book comes out when?
September the 24th, but you can pre-order right now. Actually, I have some today, so I will be signing books when we're done.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me, how did you decide to write a book? Because many of us always hear, oh, you should write a book. You got a story in you.
Yeah.
What made you decide to write this book?
Well, of course, I started the timid way. I just kind of did it myself and went to a printer and put it together. And I had an event in Los Angeles, with the same name, More Than Pretty. And about 500 women showed up. And it was really, really powerful. The conversation was very necessary.
Yes.
Because I'm saying doing the soul work, but it's really about, being a woman and sexuality and knowing who I am and how to make decisions and how I've come to those decisions. And I was like, there's more here. And I was actually preaching in church, which I don't even believe that I'm even saying that. I was speaking at church, preaching, whatever. At church, and our executive pastor is a publisher. And he said, this is a book, Rich Lady. And I was like, really? And he said, yes. So we started a conversation, and it just went really, got the book deal really fast, and started the process. And that's where the real work started.
And I find it very interesting that you had already been in play. Are you a writer by nature? Are you a journalist? And so you journal and do all of that?
I have notes everywhere. Like there's always something I'm writing, some revelation of an experience, and I'll go, okay, this is how I'm supposed to look at this, and I'll write it down there. I actually got it from my mom, who's in the building this morning.
Your mama just walked in, yeah.
My mama just walked in. Yes, she had notes everywhere, encouraging notes, little things that were just for her. And so I started doing that, and I figured that it was a collection that I could put together. And as I started writing, I literally started coming to the realization of some things while I was writing the book. And it was very, very therapeutic. And I'm super excited about these truths that I've been able to realize for me, that I absolutely know that they will be tools for other women.
Do you find that as an entertainer that you, in the middle of the night, coming up with things for songs and ideas for songs, or maybe even a theme for your radio show, that these are things you write in the middle of the night?
It's insane. Sometimes I'm like, Lord, can you give me all of this after the show? Like I only get a little amount of sleep. But no, literally, I wake up and I'll have an idea about a theme. I remember, it's not a gospel song, but this song, I could give it to you, but what you gonna do with it? It's a song, right? I could give it to you, but what? But then I was like, but we want so much from God. We want so much out of life. We want relationship, we want business, we want success, but what will you do with it? Are you equipped to handle it? Do you have the information? Are you emotionally stable enough to have a relationship? Are you thinking that's going to heal everything? There's really something inside that needs to happen. A lot of times we think things are automatic. If I get this, everything is fine. But there's a lot of work that needs to go on leading up to these life-changing moments, these mountaintop moments. Like even being up here, if I hadn't done the work, if I hadn't been taking time crying by myself, going to therapy, praying, talking, I would have nothing to talk about. So you have to do the work. If God's going to give it to you, what are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
So in terms of your ministry, when did you know
that it was a ministry?
Yeah.
I was afraid of that word for a very long time.
I know you were afraid of the first lady thing. I know about
childless. But
as far as the ministry, was it a light bulb moment? You're like, or was it just something you moved into slowly?
It was when I realized from the testimonies that were coming from people, I'm not just singing anymore. I'm not just talking on the radio. I'm meeting people and they're like, you changed my life, you changed my perspective, you gave me a God tool that helped me be better in every area of my life. And I'm like, okay, this is ministry, and I'm okay with it. The only reason I wasn't is because people have done it wrong, the weight and responsibility. So I don't think it's that people don't like ministry, because we all want to share and build people. People are afraid of what comes along with it. But I say, if God has called me to it, He's equipped me for it, He's prepared me, I have what I need, and then we have to learn to speak life over the things that we're doing, because a lot of times you want to do something great, and you think it's great, but you're so busy identifying everything that's wrong, you can't even enjoy the rightness. I just made that word up. You can't even enjoy the rightness of it because you're going, well, what if the people don't? And what if somebody says? What if none of that happens? We're getting nervous and anxious over things that have never happened and sometimes never even do. So ministry is now a great joy, because it's actually me saying yes to God. Because when you say no to ministry, what you're really saying is, no, God, no, I don't want to work for you. I'm too scared. Lord, I won't work for you because they're going to do something. Lord, I'll say no to you because what people will think. And so I'm like, I dare not say no to the Creator who planted something. I can hear it on a regular, you should do, or the inspiration keeps coming. And then, oh, well, you know, nobody, I don't know what to do anyway. If He gave it to you, then the work is, I need to figure out how to do this, because I have the seed. The water is supposed to come from me. I have to water the seed that He planted in my soul. So that's what I feel like. I'm watering.
But you come from a really strong seed too.
Yeah.
You have tremendous roots. Just based upon what I've read about you and seeing it on your shows, you come from a really tremendous base of belief and inspiration as well as action, don't you?
Yeah. You know what? The combination of good roots and realness is absolutely everything to me. So while we went to church all the time, and while we, learned to pray, we knew when we were having financial problems. My parents never over-spiritualized it. We knew we had something to do. While we knew we had to go out and sing for people, we knew that everybody, that you encounter maybe a little left of center, you love them anyway. We weren't scared of people. I mean, my early memories are being 12 years old, going to a prison with my dad. Or, when our choir, like Evangelistic Church of God in Christ Mass Choir, some of the roughest parts of Los Angeles, we would go and pray and sing to these people with real life problems. So the solution isn't always, just talk to your mom and dad, because they tell you, my mom's on drugs, my mom's on drugs and my dad's in jail. Okay.
And that's a heavy thing to accept at 12.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? Where do you place that in your life, in your head?
I didn't know where to place it at that time, but as you grow, you realize and you learn. I think at that time, I began to see people as people. When you grow up in church and you grow up in a certain way, you think everybody is like this, and anything that is not like you, that's weird. And, girl, can you believe she did that?
Yeah.
They weren't raised like you. They don't understand what you understand. It's my job to love, God never, I know that whole stereotype that goes with all church people. All church people aren't mean. All church people aren't judging. All church people aren't angry. If I'm filled with the love of God, that's what I should be giving people, no matter who I meet, no matter where they are, no matter what stage and phase of life. Because everybody's somewhere different. Listen, I've had my moments where I needed some extra Jesus juice, and I didn't need anybody to judge me. Not on that particular space in my life, I needed somebody to love me. And so I want to be that same thing for somebody else. I just want to have the knowledge and wisdom to give them, But even if I don't, I'm still honest.
Yes.
If they ask me, what do I do about this? Child, I don't know, but let's pray. I pray God helps us. I'm never giving you false information. I'm not going to overhype you up, and everything's going to be fine, because sometimes life doesn't go that way. And you have to be prepared for that. So the roots and the realness that I got growing up at home, the laughter, my father was super sarcastic, and my mom had fun with us. We weren't teenagers who didn't like our mom. We thought she was beautiful and cool. So, we listened. We were a little naughty, just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And now you got a teenager.
Okay. She's amazing, but she's a teenager.
She is so beautiful. beautiful. And I've thought about her throughout this book, and of course you do reference your children.
Yes.
But I want to talk about the title, because that is, and you talk about that. Tell the people about how you came to the title, More Than Pretty.
I have a weird relationship with the word pretty. You hear it all your life. You hear it growing up as a little girl, you hear it from guys, and it's got a different kind of connotation. The pretty is kind of, manipulative and, to kind of draw you. And then in business, pretty is used to minimize you. You walk in a business meeting, she's so pretty. Don't think I didn't come here to negotiate or to really take care of my business.
Don't let the pretty fool you.
Don't let the pretty fool you. So it's a weird relationship with the word, and I had to understand that my pretty had to have power. I didn't just want to be cute just to be cute, just because what are you doing with it? What is it for, right? So God puts you in this body. We all have curves and different things that are beautiful about us, and sometimes we either love it too much or don't like it. We've got to find balance somewhere in the middle with embracing who I am. But Lord, what is this all for? You know what I mean? It's not just for somebody to look and drool, but you can, because I am cute.
You more than pretty.
There's more to me than that. My mind, my heart, my spirit, my opinions, what I have to say. It's valuable, and you have to know that. And when you operate in that space, sometimes you give license to other women, younger or older, you know what I mean? To just feel how you feel, as opposed to, there ain't nobody listening. They always. And who are they anyway? We give they too much power. This negative group of people who we assume is always against us, And so just learning those lessons let me know that you're more than a pretty face. Because I heard it with the group. What Tina was saying, she's just the pretty one. And I would just smile. It would hurt a little bit. Like, I am pretty.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I would blow it off, because that's my natural inclination. Oh, it's cool, whatever. Whatever. And then I learned to not just go with the flow all the time.
When did you learn that? When did you learn that it was cool to not just go with the flow?
So I talk about this story in my book. A friend of mine, her brother was in music, and she wanted me to get his music to my publisher so he could get a writing deal. And I had the package that she gave me in my trunk, and it was all of my intention to get it there. But being busy in life, and I can tend to forget, I'm a procrastinator. Well, I'm recovering procrastinator. I didn't get it there in time. And so she called, and she was like, if you didn't want to do it, you just should have said so. You've changed now that you was just Mary at the time. I said, no, I've not changed, I've grown, and I want you to grow with me. And I tried, but I couldn't get it there.
That hit me. It was just like, when I read it, it was like,
yeah. Because most people go, some people you outgrow. You don't have to. They can grow with you, but it takes conversation and time. And so when I first shared, that I did my best and I didn't make it, and I'm sorry, and we still need to be friends, when she went to tell the other friends what Erica said, they was like, Erica didn't say that. Tina even called me. She was like, you said that? And I said, yeah, I tried and I couldn't, and it should be okay that I couldn't, and I didn't. And don't tell me that I'm changed. I've been the poor friend our whole life. And so now that I got $2 in my pocket, I'm different. No, I've grown. I've learned who I am. And so learn the new me, grow with me. And they have. All those friends are still my friends. This one particular friend, she actually just passed 2 weeks ago. And so I was doing the audio book and had a slight breakdown. Yeah, but it's funny, a lot of what I experienced with her were life-changing moments like that, where they would say, you feel, and I'm going, no, that ain't what it is. I would always go with the flow. Where are we going to eat? Whatever y'all want to eat. Whatever y'all want to do. And then I just learned, my opinion counts too. And I don't have to fuss and fight to give it. But I can say, well, y'all know this, you want to do this? No. And be fine with my no, and not worry if I say no, what are they going to think? Well, it'll be, and I tell my friends, it may be uncomfortable for a little while, but we'll get it together. I'm not afraid of uncomfortable. I'm not afraid of hard conversations. And once you learn to do that, it really gives you feel so powerful. You feel very empowered to speak your truth in love, but speak your truth.
And you always have to preface that, but I mean this with love.
I do, yeah, I say that a lot. Yeah. I don't like you anymore, and I would like you to stop calling my phone. I love you, but go that way, please. I'm not changing my phone number, you just stop calling. I love you, but that way. We're on different place.
Yeah, we are in different
places.
paths. We're
Yeah.
on different
And that's okay.
levels. Yeah.
Yeah. When your friends or even your family, sometimes you go to different places. And I love you, but we can't hang.
Yeah.
I don't do what you do. We don't laugh at that. There's no, we're blood, but we're not connected. You know, and I think in order to have community and relationship, you have to be connected. If it's somebody you love and you have to do the work, find the connective piece. Where did we get disconnected? What's the thing? You know what I mean?
How does that change in terms of not just your past relationships, but looking to the future and people that you choose to work with now, and having that discernment that you have developed? Are you able to immediately pick up on whether this is going to work, and are these people going to be able to accept the new Erica or the changing Erica?
I'm naturally optimistic, so sometimes I may trust too easy, and then I feel the Holy Spirit go, not this one. You know, and so I'll learn how to just kind of gently, I don't have to make a PSA, a public service announcement. I'll just know in my heart that this is not it. And you feel it, and they feel it too.
Yeah.
They feel it too.
But people want to, Erica, do you find that people want to make this work so much, whether it's in a relationship or a love relationship or work relationship, they want to make it work, so they are willing to do whatever it takes.
Now, if you're married, that's different. If you're family, that's different. But I'm just a person I just met and we don't click. All the best to you. Just all the best. Have a great life. I wish you all the best. You know what I mean? But if I don't have to make my life uncomfortable to make you comfortable, then, and I don't want that to sound harsh, because I'm not in the business of just cutting people off.
Of course.
But I know when something doesn't work. It's so funny because I was planning a birthday party, and my lovely assistant, Misty Anderson, was doing this list of people. And so some of the people are, that I've seen on red carpets, and we may say hi, we may take pictures, exchange numbers. They say they love the music, we do all of that, right? But that's the last time I'm going to see them. Sure. And so she had all these people on the list for the party, and I was like, oh no, you can take him. Oh, you can take him. Oh no, they're not coming. And she's like, but you guys are so cool. I was like, it was red carpet cool.
Red carpet cool. Come on.
Like, if I'm crying, I'm not calling your number, and you're not calling mine. Our connection is the work, is work. And so sometimes with entertainment, or even regular jobs, people can feel like it's more, and you have to find a really cool way to express that. And because there are a lot of people that I love, but I'm not going to your house and you're not coming to mine. Not because I don't go to your house, but I wasn't invited, and I don't take that offensively, and so don't you take it offensively.
Right, everybody has a best friend. Sometimes.
Yeah. This book, I would imagine, because you are so truthful and you tell stories that may have been difficult for you in the telling, but what about in the reception of those that you told the stories about? How did people receive the book, the people in your life?
Yeah, I definitely had to have some conversations with my husband, because I shared some of the stuff that we've gone through. But before I even got to the book, once we got over the hump, once we got past, we both knew that what we went through could be a tool for someone else to help them grow, to help them overcome. So we're very selective and very wise about what we share, because I think a mama bear is a protector, you know what I mean? And everybody can't handle certain parts of your story, and so you have to be wise. So he was fine. I even talk about an ex-fiance, and so I called, because
there was life before Warren.
Yeah, there was, and he's happily married. So I was like, hey, so I mentioned parts of the story. He's like, do I look like a bad guy? I was like, no, I don't make you look like a bad guy. It's just a relationship that didn't work, So yeah, and then there's Krista. I think Krista was just very honored that I shared so much about. Your children don't always know how they impact you.
Yes.
And so me talking about the different things that she has said and done, I can see in her face when she goes, oh, mommy, that's what you think from that situation. So one that I talk about is a moment where I was having a meltdown. We were in the store. So the picture of the day is busy morning, choir rehearsal, all 3 kids. I know that they don't have what they need for church Sunday. So after choir rehearsal, which is already late, rehearsal's over at 4 or 5, we go to the mall, kids are being kids.
Yes.
Rosie won't try the shoes on. Zaya's mad because she can't get as many things as Krista has. Krista wants to go in the makeup store. You can't even wear makeup yet. So I'm irritated. Get your, you know, the mom thing. Get your foot over here. I'm collecting a fool in this mom. So, you know, talking to your teeth. You know,
Yes.
mamas do. And so we walk to the car and I'm fussing the whole way. We get in the car. Krista reaches over to my hand and she says, Lord, bless my mommy right now. Help us to enjoy her and help her to enjoy us. Help us to love each other and to talk nice to each other. In Jesus' name, amen. I said, amen. My whole spirit changed. Because the prayer that I've been praying over them, she's been listening. Not only did she shift the room, she shocked me because she knew in this moment I could get an attitude because mama's fussing, or I could pray for mommy because I want my mommy to be happy. Because so I saw that she prayed, but I saw you wanted mommy to be happy. You didn't want us to fuss. Maybe that wasn't in her heart, but that's how I translate it.
Sure.
So when I talk about it, I see her just kind of pray for my mom. Oh, it's the most beautiful thing ever.
This child has been here before.
She's a special kid.
She really is. I mean, even when you talk about taking her to an audition.
Yes.
And her saying, could we just pray? Yes.
Lord, I thank you for this audition. And if I get the part, that's great. But if I don't, Lord, it's their loss. Who says that? 7 years old. Now she's 14 and the confidence has kind of wavered because there's boys and body image and, you know, even mommy, I wish I was your complexion.
Yes.
Just a lot of that. And so we combat that constantly. And I tell her that I prayed for you to look, when I was pregnant, I said I want a beautiful brown face with beautiful eyes and a wonderful smile. Like, nobody's ever happy with how they are. So I grew up, I'm the light skin, and I had 2 sisters that are brown, and I just thought they were so, I always wanted to be brown like Lisa and Malia, always. Complexion is so beautiful. And, you know, so I tell her that that's what I wanted you to be. And she'll still say, but I wish I was your color. And I go, well, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
Well, we know you're not gonna wake up yellow tomorrow. So let's embrace the brown. Let's love the brown, you know? And so she cracks up, and I'll show her other beautiful brown women. I'll show her pictures of women in magazines, especially if I see Lupita on the cover.
Okay.
Oh, girl, look at her. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I want you to know that this is, your brown is beautiful, your black is beautiful. And she has to embrace that. So we still, you know, she's 14. I'm sure there'll still be some roads, and I'll still have some tears and stuff. So y'all pray for me, or tell me what to do if you already got to Mama. Tell me what you did with us.
You are not only in your relationship with your children, but as you have mentioned, the relationship with your husband and talking about the things that have happened in your life. How difficult is that in being so open and so sharing with everyone in regards to the journey that you all have taken together?
I'm so over it. I'm so healed from it till it doesn't, it's not a wound anymore. You know what I mean? It's closed, it's closed, the wound's closed up. It's not tender anymore. I'm not soft about it anymore. I just, you know, we did the work.
Yeah.
We talked about it. How did we get there? What were the contributors? How could we have avoided it? What did we ignore? What did we? So we did all that. And so doing all that just kind of.
How did you know to do that though, Erica? What was, because I think we all know that we have to do the work, but how did you know that this was what you needed to do? Or was it just stepping out on faith and knowing that you were going to save this marriage and that you were going to take whatever the Lord gave you to work through it? But was there something in your heart, was there something in your mind that said, darn it, you're in this, let's go to work?
Well, that wasn't the first thought. The first thought was, I'm fine. I got money myself. Do you, buddy? I'm cool. You know, that was the first thought. And then Jesus said, hello. And so I just started to look at the totality of us and who would win if we did. The enemy would win. So it wasn't even about the girl. It was about the enemy would win. What would my children have to endure? You know what I mean? What would life be like? I don't want separate Thanksgivings. You know what I mean? There's a lot of value to us. you are my friend. I like you.
Before anything.
Before anything, I like you, and I made a commitment to you, you know. And so I knew that sad wasn't the solution. So I just didn't. I don't like being sad. I don't like crying too much. Even if I'm sad, I'm like, I'm sick of crying. This is too much. I'm just naturally like, and I think all of my family, we're the toughest girls probably ever. Like we didn't, you know, it wasn't a lot of sadness. You know how most people think girls are. If something was wrong, we'd be like, all right, it's wrong. All right, what's next? Move on. Whatever. I don't want that. I learned that I was avoiding some things in that, and so I would move on, but I wouldn't be healed. I would move on and still be hurt. And so my mom says this thing, that right there, God. She says sometimes you can't identify it. Somebody walk in a room and your stomach jump, or you get irritated, or you want to leave. You go, that's not that right there, God. Remove that from me. And so I would go to church, you know, after me and my husband had gone, you know, through what we'd gone through, and I would be trying to lift my hands, and I'd be like, Lord, it's still there. I need you to take it away or help me understand something. Now I would still lift my hands, and I would still go to church, and I would still worship. Broken, he took my broken hallelujahs, you know, and he was okay that they were broken because it was still a hallelujah. And so I think because of that dedication to God, to my vows, for better or for worse, this was the worst. I knew he made a mistake. I knew he wasn't a mistake by way of how he came to me, by way of how he poured it out, by way of how he allowed me to go through my process. I just knew I didn't want to be one of those women who's married 32 years and I'm rolling my eyes at them.
Right.
You know, you see those married couples, it's a picture that's floating around Instagram, and there's like 100 and 102, and the caption says she been pissed at him since she was 75. I don't, you know, I don't be like, yes, my husband, yeah, we married, yeah. I just didn't want, I wanted to be happy for real, and I think that you can be if you do the work, but you have to be honest. I knew that there was a phase when he asked me to come off the road, and he was like, first of all, it took him a long time to say that he wanted more of my time, and I was like, oh, so now I'm successful, now you want me to be at home washing dishes. Buddy, I'm out, I'm going to sing, I was out. I didn't know what that did to him, right? It was challenging for him to see me love everybody else, and I come home just to change my bag, just to pack and move out.
You good?
You good? I'm good. Okay. Kiss. Okay, here's Krista saying her. And I took me and Krista was out. My mom said, you can't worship her. Don't make your child your God now. And I kind of did. It was all about Krista. Hey, can we go out? Hello, we have a child. He was like, I was here first, you know. And it wasn't like don't take care of her. It was just don't leave me out. You know what I mean? And so the enemy manipulates those little things. He manipulated my ego. He manipulated his pain, and there you have it. I mean, and there's war. When you come together, everybody brings baggage, and if you don't unpack that bag, those things will seep out. And so we had to really kind of go.
And you can even change bags.
You can change bags.
But you got to do some laundry. You got to do some other stuff.
You got to throw some stuff out.
Take it to the cleaners. Do whatever you got to do and say, this isn't going to work here.
Yeah.
And go.
Yeah. So we had a lot of work to do. And you know, sorry, Mom, this may be the hard part for you. So my mom and dad married each other 3 times. You know, sometimes when I heard my dad say I love you often, but he still left. So my relationship with I love you was like, what does that mean? Whatever. So my husband was like, I love you. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? I was very kind of cynical and sarcastic.
Right there.
Yeah, I would get very sarcastic about it, and I didn't realize how that was affecting him. And he didn't know how to say it. My husband's 3 years younger than me. That doesn't mean anything. But everybody's house operates differently. So his family operates differently. Like his family was very different from mine. They talk about everything. Like, I don't want to talk about this, but I would have to talk about this. You know, and if you are joining lives, you have to realize that you're coming from 2 different places. And so part of our unpacking our personal bags was understanding what my family did and what his family did, and I had to toughen him up in some areas. Just because I'm sarcastic or dismissive, it doesn't mean that I'm not here. And he was saying, but it don't feel like that to me. It feels like I don't really like you that much. you know? And so we just had a lot of work to do. And I was glad to do that work. I was glad to learn more about his soul. He was glad to learn more about mine. Because sometimes you're married and you're just, you know, you take care of the kids, you go to church. But what's really going on? What makes you scared? What are you afraid of? What do you really love? You know what I mean? I know we do life together, but sometimes we don't really know each other, and we need to find those things out.
And when the lights are off and when the lights are on, and those thoughts that are going through your mind when you're on the road, you're alone, and he's at home with the kids, and those are the conversations that you really need to have. Them. He just kind of puts off to the side. Oh, we'll get to it. But you guys got to it.
Yeah.
You did the work. Was therapy a part of that?
Absolutely.
That was a really big. And how difficult was that? As I know, as a lot of church people will say, "Oh, I got God. I don't need a therapist. I don't need to go through therapy."
The Bible is very clear about counsel. The Bible is very clear about having wise people around you. There's always passing on of information. There's always people to confer with, to discuss with. You know what I mean? I don't think, especially in big life decisions, we shouldn't be left to our own devices. It's not just about how I feel, because has the enemy manipulated my emotions and I make the wrong decision unknowingly? You know, and so I will text my sisters, call my loved ones, and ask, hey, like, am I tripping? Is this me? And my sisters are honest. Yeah, you tripping.
You do a wellness check.
I do a wellness check. Me and my husband do it. I do it, you know, with my sisters, especially when you lose loved ones. We lost a young cousin. And what's really in your family always comes out when somebody dies. Who don't like people, how they really feel about you. It comes out when people die. And so we started apologizing to each other. I apologize for being a forgetful sister. I'm sure it didn't feel good that I just wasn't at the baby's birthday party. Maybe in your head you go, okay, she's busy. But something says, why couldn't you remember? Why wasn't the day I celebrate life for my child a little more? Yeah, you couldn't put that on. You put everything else on schedule. And so I stopped giving myself a pass to forget everything. Like, no, Erica, you don't want people to forget you, because we're time challenged in the family. So if a party starts at 2, you know they coming at 3.
You know that.
Yes, if you want Tina there at 5, you better tell her 3. Malia's here, my oldest, she'll be on time. Lisa's somewhere in the middle. Me, pray my strength. Google's gonna come, but she has another event always. Always overbooked. My niece Shanae always has somewhere to go. She's here, it's her birthday too.
All the family.
Yeah, all the birthdays, stand up birthdays. Mommy, Malia, Shanae. They are the ones in the way. Is her birthday too? Hi, Grandma, happy birthday.
Are you 22, 23? You're 19. Come on.
No, but I think families need to do that work too. And you know, we have those conversations where we're fussing and crying, and at the end we just hug.
Well, we saw that over here.
We did.
We saw that. We got more than we thought we were going to get. But you have no filter in terms of that. You are so open, or at least it appears to be, just very open, not only in the book, but on television as well. We always.
No. I was shy. I was afraid of whatever. I was just scared of everything. What did I say? What did I do? Is this good enough? Oh, did I like my trip? Just scared of everything. And then I just didn't want to be scared no more.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to
You
be.
said, you got to that place of no, but in your head, were you saying no? And yet going along with everybody else and whatever you want to say or whatever you want to do?
I weigh the options.
Okay.
The value of my no. How necessary is this no? This statement that I'm making, what is it going to do to their heart? You know what I mean? So sometimes I know I need to be there just because you need to love on people. And you don't just get to do what you like to do. That ain't life. That's not real. I'm a grown woman. Sometimes I don't always want to cook dinner after I got off the plane. You know, but I know I've been gone. I know they've been eating out or eating the nanny's food. I want them to eat my food. So I'm going to be a little tired. But my family had something that I cooked that so I do it for them. You know what I mean? Or even at church, sometimes people need some time and they're crying and going through, and we just got to get in there and do the work. We got to talk it through. I got to tell them, well, that's dumb, honey. Don't do that.
No.
That's not smart. well, I said this and I said this. Well, that's why he left, because you insulted him every day. You know, I believe in being honest. Because where's a lie gonna get you? Where's a lie gonna get them?
Exactly. Right.
You know what I mean? I don't believe in self-preservation like that. I feel like I just tell the truth. What they gonna do? They ain't gonna. When I lay down at night, they're not gonna be there.
Right.
I'm not gonna lose a record deal or lose a business deal because somebody didn't like what I said. And I know a lot of people are afraid because we're in this canceled generation. We don't like you, we will cancel you. I'm sorry, God gave me this talent and He's not checking with you to bless me. So it's a lot of people on the planet. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who don't know me, and that's fine. But the people who do and love me, I love them. And those of you who don't, it's always somebody else for you.
That's right.
Buy another record, go to another concert. It's okay. I'll live.
As my mother used to say, that's why God made erasers. If this isn't working for you, just keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the life of a first lady. This is so not what you wanted, is it?
Never. I love my first lady growing up was my Aunt Teresa. I think I talked about her a million times in this book because I watched her so much.
But she is an incredible human being.
She's an incredible human being, right? So I watched her. I watched what she endured. I could tell when she didn't like stuff, and she still smiled and she still served. And I was like, I want to do that. But I saw that she was shaking it off. I was shaking it off like, I want to do that. But I saw that she was being obedient to service. Our life should be about service. You know what I mean? And so I learned to say yes. I knew that being a first lady didn't have to make me bitter or angry. It didn't have to destroy my relationship. It didn't have to, I don't know, just upset my life. You know what I mean? I don't have to be afraid of people. I'm not afraid of people. And I tell my team all the time, I know they get mad at me because they'll be like, Erica, we're gonna go down the hall, we're gonna go to the meet and greet. But if I see somebody, I saw a little girl talking bad to her mama. Her mama said, she was like, I don't wanna, your mama. And her mom was embarrassed. You could tell she was embarrassed. I went over there and I said, stop talking to your mama like that.
Come on.
Be nice. I said, your mama brought you here. What if you was at home? She was, and I said, Mama, don't let her talk to you like that.
Thank you.
I hugged them both and prayed for them. Then we went on to the meet and greet. I do it in the grocery store, but if it's, if it's people who I know won't receive it, I just look at kids and I give them mama
clenched teeth.
Because they be screaming and acting a fool and the parent is embarrassed. You don't know what they're, people are overwhelmed and they're dealing with so much. And can't we stop judging mamas? We be judging the mamas. The young ones and the old ones. Like some people are just broken and they're doing the best that they can. And more than anything, don't judge them, love them. Offer a tip or something. Listen, I seen, it was a white couple and they had a little black child and the child's hair wasn't done right. Because they didn't know how to do her hair. Exactly. So I went over and I said, hey, my niece braids hair and I see her hair is a little dry. Black children, they need a little more moisture. So you should give her a call and she can give her some really nice braids. I'm always trying to help people. Now, everybody don't want it. My husband be like, can you leave people alone? They didn't ask you to save their lives. It's like, I can offer. If they don't want it, then say no.
I hear great stories. I've not been to your church, but I hear great stories from my colleagues, Sherry Shepherd and Kim Whitley have come to the church. And what is it that you give them that they walk away with? Because it is, they come in on a Tuesday and talk about, being with you guys. What is it that you are hoping that they take away? Because they obviously are taking some positive things away.
Hope. I think we all have faith, struggle with love, but a lot of us have lost hope. We're just kind of living. Hope is the optimistic, wonderful feeling of what is to come. Faith is, I can just make it to tomorrow. And the Bible says faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love, right? And so we talk about faith and believing a lot, but what are you believing for? What are you believing in? And if He told us that we can have exceedingly abundantly, why do we expect the minimum? Yes. And then we're okay with the minimum. And if I can just get to tomorrow, if I just get this, no, if God has everything for me, then I want that. And so we're very encouraging while giving you the word, while not sugarcoating it. We're not the church of, whatever you're doing, it's fine, just do you. We're not a do you kind of church, but we'll tell you the truth in love, and then we'll give you another option. Consider this. Consider if God is in the center and you're not trying to make your own way, because a lot of times that's what happens. Where our faith is low, we don't love much or nothing, so we try to make our own way because we're hopeless. No one wants to say that they're hopeless, but a hopeful person should be a joyful person. God's going to do something great. What is it? I don't know, but it's going to be awesome. Right. I think that very childlike thing, I posted something the other day, like a 4-year-old with a Spider-Man shirt. Yeah. You can't tell him that he's not Spider-Man. Right. My son walked around with the Spider-Man hands. He would be watching TV, and he'd just be sitting there with his Spider-Man hands. I just posted a video of him. He wore it all the time because I am a superhero. And I would go, yes, you are, son. You sure are a superhero. But sometimes, as grown folks, we need to wear a cape sometimes. Because life has beat you up, and sometimes I'm a superhero today. Today I'm Wonder Woman. That's right. Today, whatever I face, listen, I got these bracelets. I'm going to block off every negative thing. I don't want to go to work anticipating somebody getting on my nerves. I don't want to go to church anticipating somebody stealing my parking space. You know what I mean? When I get there, I'm going to have a perfect park. They're going to be nice to me. When I walk in this store, it happens at the airport for me all the time. I can get there late because I've spent too much time kissing my kids before I left, and I tell the Uber driver, hi, how are you? You are so awesome. I'm sure you're the best driver in LA. Listen, we've got 15 minutes to get to the airport, and I'm going to miss my bag cut off, but I think you can do it, sir. I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. We can get there in time. We're not going to make it. Miss, you're not. Yes, I am, sir. Let's think positive. I get there. Somebody there at the check-in go, I just love your music. I go, thanks, God. You missed the bag. Come put your tag on. And then I get to security, the line is long, and then I just start talking to people, and for some reason, a way opens. But I expect that. And that may be weird for somebody, but I'm like, I don't want to expect the worst. Yeah. I sing this song, Focus on the Good, to my kids. Focus on the good, focus on the good. Focus on the good, oh yeah, you should. Focus on the good, focus on the good, yeah. And my kids sing that. And so I tell them that. Don't focus on what's bad, focus on what's good. Yes, the bad is there, we're not ignoring it, but we choose to focus on something else. And I think when you choose that, when you don't focus on the problem, you focus on God as a solution. Yes, I am sick, I'm not gonna lie to myself, but I'm gonna focus on the fact that God said He's a healer. I may not have no money, but if He said He supplied all my needs according to His riches and glory, that I'm going to declare that I have what I need. You know what I mean? The Bible even tells us, like, if you got an alt with your brother, you having a problem, the Bible says, leave the altar, go talk and get it straight. So I don't have to be mad at you forever. I don't want to be. When I was dealing with that in my marriage, I was, getting over it, and we was better, we were firm, and she was still at church. And I don't know why, I think the devil allowed it. Every time she would say something, this is a big church, 2,000 people, I would spot her every single time. And the Holy Spirit said, you're not going to be okay until you forgive her too. I was like, Jesus, I should be able to hold that man. That one should be okay. You should be all right with that one, Jesus. Nope, because He forgave me of all my junk. So one Sunday, I walked over and I just told her, I forgive you. She looked at me like I was crazy. I don't know how it hit her heart, but that thing lifted off of me. I was just, whoo, free. I forgive you.
There was a freeness of spirit that just had to, you floated.
Yeah. I felt like I floated away from her. I literally did. I was like, come on, E, you did. I gave myself a high five. Come on. You did that, E. You come on. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. I did. What happens when you do forgive? What happens when you do let go? And so now we can move on to something else.
I always, and my mother used to, like you, write notes and leave things on the refrigerator or on my mirror or whatever, and always still just let go and let God, and that really is such a big part of More Than Pretty. It really is in your ability to learn to let go and to put it there for and then say, Lord, let's do what we need to do. Let's do the work that we need to do. And you did the work in this. You really did. It's so good. I mean, you just, but listening to you, and I got to tell you, like I said earlier, for those of you that don't know, we work out of the same studio at Reach Media in Dallas. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but she goes to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, Los Angeles time, on the West Coast, rather. And so I work with her group, her cast, mostly TJ, her producer, as well as Griff, the comedian, and B is her engineer. And you can just feel how her spirit permeates through her people there in Dallas. We don't see her, but we hear her and we feel her. And I think that is also true for your radio audience. Just love the work that you do and the power of positivity and the great spirit. I got to play a lot of your music and Kirk Franklin to get me going in the morning. But it's so wonderful to hear you and the words that you say and share with us every day on the radio. How do you like radio?
I really like radio. I do. I really enjoy the conversation. I love having to learn in sound bites, how to talk in sound bites, you know, because you got like this 3-minute window to talk to people and engage and, you know, knowing how to get those moments that will have people calling in because of what you're talking about, because of what's going on in our world. I love all of that. I love the music. You know, I love being able to give people platform. You know, I remember when it was me and Tina's time and we would go from station to station and, you know, and so I'm now on the other side and I'm going, oh, they weren't ignoring me, they had more show to do. Right. So you go to an interview and you're thinking you're going to have a conversation and their heads are down and they're writing, I'm going, oh, I get it now. You were preparing for your interview after me or the segment after me. So, you know, just learning different things, watching how you guys interact in the times that I've come in Tom's studio. I really enjoy it. I can't say the 2:30 wake-up calls feel good. Okay. But I do it.
Yeah, I lived in LA for a couple of years, and I was 5 minutes. I couldn't work out of my house, but I was able to live pretty close to the studio. But there's something in your head that going to work in the middle of the night. It's weird. It's very bizarre.
It's very bizarre to wake up and your whole house is asleep. And you know, my husband's a producer, so I keep waking up. He's coming in a lot of times. Like he will come where I am and it's like 3 in the morning. I'm like, you just getting here? I was like, okay, good night. I go, okay, good morning. So strange.
Yeah,
so strange.
But radio loves you, really. Congratulations. Congratulations. What's next?
The book tour is next. I just released a new song. The movement of More Pretty. I think
it really is a movement.
I think it's very necessary. I think a lot of us need to be free in a lot of areas of our life and our mind and, you know, outside of church, you know, and I just want to help. I want this conversation to grow. I want us to interact and talk and learn how to get over stuff. You know, I remember meeting a woman and she was about, it was 2 sisters, they were about in their 60s, and they hadn't spoken to each other in like 5 years. And they were watching me and Tina's interaction and decided to call each other. We happened to see them and they said, thank you for your honesty, because I didn't realize how much I missed my sister until I saw 2 sisters. I mean, that's so wonderful. I don't think Tina enjoys my honesty as much.
Do you enjoy her honesty?
Not all the time, but I love her. She's my fave. She's my fave. She gets on my nerves. I get on her nerves.
Your other faves here.
They're all my faves.
Okay.
All faves. Because we all have moments that look at good answer, big sister. Because everybody serves a different purpose. Right. You know what I mean? There's one you know she's going to give you the solid answer. My sister Atlanta's the devil's advocate. She's always going to talk from the other side. I'm like, I just need you to be on my side.
For once.
My mom's always on the side of right. So if I'm mad at my husband, well, Mama, he said, and she's like, yeah, but baby, maybe you could have. I'm your child. I want to talk about his side right now, just mine. So Lisa's always gonna pray for you. Google will fight with you.
And Google will make you look fabulous.
Google will make listen. Google brings Jesus and the fight. She brings them both. It's awesome.
I am so happy for you. Not only is the book coming out in just a matter of weeks, but also the audiobook is
the audiobook, yes. So I just recorded the audiobook. I had to go through the entire thing. Had moments where I would, get emotional, because reading it is different. Once I got to the end of the book, I just closed it and just put my head down like, God, thank you. Thank you for every mountain. Thank you for the struggles. Thank you for the triumphs. Thank you for what I've learned. You know what I mean? And I'm excited. I'm excited for people to read this book, to start their own Bible studies with the book, their own talk groups, you know, with friends to sort things through. I talk a lot about, you know, community, the other couples that help me and my husband stand strong. I definitely don't do any of this by myself.
Sure.
I have an amazing circle of people around me, and who you surround yourself with makes everything. You know, we have couples that will talk us off the ledge, or, you know, I've had girlfriends call me and I'm like, okay, cry little big girl, go back home.
Right.
Why are you driving at 3 in the morning? Because I'm pissed and I don't like him. I know what you love him, go home. You know, it's healthy.
Yeah.
You know, we go out together and we share and we're honest, and I just think everybody needs that. So I talk about a lot in the book that I think will help.
You are so transparent in this, and I really appreciate that. A lot of people can, I can't say the word, but they can, you know, weave and maneuver and not get to the truth and show their true selves in books like this. But you are more than pretty. You are so special, and this book really is. And I highly recommend that you all go out there and become a part of the More Than Pretty movement. I think it's going to make a big difference in your life. This woman has made a difference already. I thank you so much, Eric Campbell. So grateful.